Welcome, everyone, to the Wellness Way. This is a series where Susan and I, our dedicated energy experts, guide viewers, you, through enlightening energy discussions and techniques to raise your vibration, to balance your energies, and cultivate inner peace. I am Jennifer Farrar, your host. Healing Peace Within is my business.
And I'm Susan Flershinger, your vibrant energy engineer at Form to Soar. And we are so excited to have you here sharing this time with us so you can harness your inner power and lead the harmonious and fulfilling life that you love.
Can you share your personal journey and how you got where you are today, and share your path?
Yes, thanks, Jennifer. So energy healing, energy work was not a thing in my life. I didn't consciously know what it was at all. And um, 20-ish years ago, my father passed away from pancreatic cancer, and that was a tough time for me. And so I think what a lot of people a lot of people might do is, dear God, what is the legacy that you want me to leave? Because I really was just kind of lost. And fairly quickly after that question, that plea, I was directed, in coincidentally, non-coincidentally, actually, to a
That's the way it
world
works.
of yes, to a world of work that was energy based. So I was kind of guided to learn about energy medicine, about plant healing, about aromatherapy, just kind of all different ways of working. And it was fairly new to me, and so I just was really given all of these possibilities, and I started taking them and taking the learning. Now, at the time, I was a software engineer at Hewlett Packard Agilent Technologies. That's my degree. I have a electrical engineering degree, software engineering career that was, almost at the time probably close to 20 years long. And I didn't know I was going to be doing anything different with my life. And after that, that question, it was like, okay, there's something different that God has a purpose for me to be doing. And so as I started to get into this world of work, and what energy even was, which we're going to be doing with you all today, just what to do with that. And so I took all different trainings, different modalities, different certifications. And with all of those, you'll find you need to practice on people. You need to see what the results are with those. And so I would practice with my family, with people at work, and we were getting such great results, and I ended up basically having two jobs. And it was like, okay, I've got to choose what's the one that's going to be rewarding and fulfilling for me. And I had a lot of folks at my work, like my family. It's like, well, what are you thinking? This is so completely different than what you're doing for sure. But I said, you know what? If I can make a difference in the health and wellness arena, I think that was a message from my dad passing. Is there's just a different way of supporting our own selves, and I need to step into it. This is, I've been called to do this. I need to step into it and see what it's going to look like.
Two things that I love about what you said, and I hadn't really thought about it this way, is what is my legacy? What is the legacy that I want people to remember me by? And what do I want to give to this world that I can be remembered? And the second one was how you shifted from being, I mean, an engineer. I know a lot of engineers, and they're very cerebral,
Yes.
because they're solving problems all day long, and that's a thought
Mhm.
process. And
Yes.
actually, that kind of lends itself very well to what you do. And what we do is we're also solving problems for our clients. Um, can you tell me a little bit more about that transition from such a cerebral career to something that's more heart-centered?
Yes, yes, yes. Well, for me, in my software work, I am very it's very analytical, it's very process focused. Then and what I found, it's just a different if it's a different focus of how to help, how noticing, okay, there's something going on with the body that this hurts and okay, what is it that's going on? Is there something emotional that's happened in your life? Is there something traumatic that's happened in your life? is
Mhm.
is what is it that's creating that sort of energetic ball of energy that's causing things not to flow and move and to be painful? And so it actually was quite natural for me because I think in those terms. What's going on? I know there's a solution to help this be better. And my way of, engineering thinking was made that really easy for me to just do the research, but not get stuck into all those possibilities. Just, listen and kind of receive some guidance about what is going on. And so it's not as far off as one might think in someone who's been in a engineering world to now an energetic world. And so I was like totally okay with, yep, that's the transition for me, and it's helping me develop some different ways of thinking and operating. And I know what you'll talk about too is the intuitive part of us. It's just taking time and desire to tune into that, the divine guidance that's intuitive, or however that flows in through God and the angels and our intuition. It truly let me so easily step into listening and asking and receiving what that insight was to drive what the process, what the resolutions might be. So yeah.
It's fascinating to me that that transition was so smooth because they are so disparate professions
Hmm.
that my other question is when we shift like that, such I mean, that's a radical shift and radical
Radical
change
shift. Yep.
in
Yep.
your life. Not only did you do some mental and physical and emotional radical shifting, but you but the job shift, did
Mhm.
you did you lose people along the way? How did your family and friends take that shift for you?
I would say my family was totally supportive for sure, and that's really how I was able to do it. My husband of now 35 years, and my kids were teenagers, some in high school, and they knew, they could see and feel that this calling, this way of being was so where I was meant to be, that there was no question about that. Now, work people, I came from an environment where I just loved the work people that I worked with. I've always been a really upbeat, positive. Maybe that's more of a non-engineering type form, but very very connected and just really optimistic and positive. And so while people ask more, this is such a radical, 180 change, how could you do this? It really was more of, we can see that this service, this way of being is totally fits how you're going to support people in moving forward. And the people that said, how can you imagine doing this, really weren't thinking big enough. in my
I like
mind. And
that.
that
I
was,
like
it
that.
was more about them and not about me. Because when I knew it was the right decision, it was the right decision. I just move forward. I'm not a wishy-washy. I just move forward.
That, you know, my first thought was happy wife, happy life. And for your kids, the
Yes.
same thing, happy mom.
Yes. Yeah.
And what a great example that you showed your children that to be to, and I don't know if you were like stuck in that job, but in a
Oh
job
no,
that
I love my
didn't,
job. I love my job.
okay, but it still didn't fulfill your soul. It didn't fill you up.
Yeah,
Like,
it not where I was meant to be going, not in the
no,
new direction that it's like this is where you need to go. This is where you're meant to be.
I mean, that's an incredible lesson that you taught your children is do something that you love to do and that
Yes.
fills your soul. I was really good at my job. I was a manager at JCPenney and I sold anything and everything from high-end draperies to men's underwear. And
Yeah.
I was inventory control specialist, you name it. I did it all over my store. I was always on the top metrics, in how a retail environment says you're doing great, whether it's in sales or profit or catalog referrals or all of that kind of stuff. My departments were always in the top because I always supported my employees. And that's the part that I really loved, is giving my employees the tools necessary for them to be successful. It was all the other stuff that we as management had to deal with. And I was in that job for 18 years. And as I told you earlier today, I stayed in that job 5 years longer than I really wanted to
Mm.
because of other people's fears imposing their fears upon me and me going, oh, I guess I gotta have to have that. So
Yeah.
my pathway into this healing was starting in the late 80s, actually, because I'm uh, aging myself. I'll be 60 in a couple of weeks. So I was still pretty young in the 80s. And
Mhm.
I knew something, I needed something different. I don't know what that was. I
Yeah.
didn't at that time because the internet didn't exist back then.
Right.
Um,
Mhm.
so I couldn't just Google
Mhm.
it. Google and Yahoo didn't even exist back then. And
Right.
I just felt it was literally a pull in my solar plexus to raise my vibration. I didn't know what
Mhm.
that meant.
Right.
I went, okay, God. I literally was on my knees, the little kid's prayer, now I lay me down to sleep, that kind of
Mhm.
position, and
Yes.
going, God, show me. Something has to change here.
Right.
Show me. And please show me. I don't like my life. I was not happy. And literally, little by little, people started showing up. It didn't all happen at once. My
Yes.
pathway was very gradual. And I realized when I look back how miraculous it was. I mean, literally, my sister called and said, let's go out to dinner one night. And I said, okay. She's like, I can't be there until 7. I'm like, I get off work at 5:30. I'm going to have to hang around for an hour and a half. Well, I just walked around at that time. I worked in downtown Des Moines, which is the capital city of Iowa. And I found this little wonderful little eclectic store that sold artwork, they sold clothes, jewelry. And I'm walking out the door to go to the restaurant. And there was just this little sign, like this big, that said New Moon Healing Circle. And it was like, the sign was this big, but then it became huge. It's like jumped out at my face. And I asked my mom, I said, hey, I just saw this poster saying New Moon Healing Circle. You want to come? And my mom said, yeah. My mom is was an incredible person. The She was a psychic herself, so I could never get away with anything growing up because she always knew what I was doing. And so we went to this new moon healing circle. And what it is, it's a Native American circle. You have a talking stick, and the person talking, everyone listens. So you get 5 to 10 minutes of you just pouring your heart out, and everyone is actively listening. And one woman said, "I'm a Reiki master." And it was like, what?
Whoop.
I gotta learn that. I didn't know what it was. I gotta learn that. So that kind of took me on a journey of 4 years actually to find someone who was going to teach me, because back then, so this was the early 90s, back then there weren't very many Reiki masters. Now I know probably over 15
Yeah.
Reiki masters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's a lot more proliferated. So that kind of started me on the journey. It was like everyone I met taught me something to raise my vibration in a different way, in a different way, in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
exactly. And meaning changing your vibration really meant shifting whatever was getting in the way of anything coming to you, coming to me. And as I was slowly letting go of stuff, letting go of my hurts, my traumas, my limiting beliefs, people
All
came
part
in.
of it.
Yep, people came in, and every time I kind of hit a bump in the road, I'm like, okay, where am I supposed to go? What am I supposed to do? Something's going to happen. I need something different. Someone would come in to teach me. So all the things that I do, the energy work that I do, excuse me, are a direct response to those prayers, are a direct response to me going, I need help.
Right. Right.
So and we're talking, this has been over the course of, I don't know, since I became a Reiki master in 2000. I started my Reiki journey in 1997.
Mm-hmm.
So a very long time, as you have yourself. How long have you been practicing?
So again, I quit my job on my 20-year anniversary, and then I opened so 2008. Then started all the training before, but in 2008 is when I started my physical business practice, and I had a location. I was in a place by my in a house basically that had different offices, and I was the only one that did that did anything like this in any form. But slowly, as people would move out of those spaces, the landlord said, you know what, go ahead and bring in wellness kind of people, and so developed a practice, or sorry, a center, a wellness center, and that allowed just to expand again my learning, my who I was able to help and support. But it was pretty much face to face. Now all of my family was not local at the time. My immediate husband and kids, but not my sister, my mom, my aunts and uncles. They weren't local, and so part of the learning that I had was how to work remotely.
Mhm.
And we'll talk about this more as we're helping all of you viewers. But it's the idea that when you can kind of tune into the energy and basically ask to be connected and supporting somebody, all for the best and highest good. you
Absolutely.
can you can literally tap into their energy and give guidance about what's going on, and offer energy flow, energy, higher vibration,
Mhm.
to let things go, to clear out trauma, to clear out difficulty. There's just, yeah, we'll talk about all that, but
Endless.
um,
Yeah.
I had that possibility of working directly with people, hands-on helping them, energy medicine, Reiki, those are all tools that I have as well that are really hands-on modalities, so that you're not only, kind of thinking and intuiting, but your hands are flowing the energy. And that's just fabulous to be able to work on people that way. Of course, then COVID hit, right? So
Right.
and so the ability to be able to see people face to face was just not there for some amount of time. And so I just said, okay, I know that this works remotely. I know that it works over the phone, over
Mhm.
Zoom. And so I'm going to basically let go of my space and say, okay, figure out how to do this. And that's what I've been in that mode of now, working with and on and for people ever since. What your process of the working part? Do you still have face-to-face people? Are you working more online? What's your pathway that you've had
Well,
with all of this
it's
energy
funny
work?
because at first, I only worked in person because
Mhm.
like you, is like, oh, wait a minute. I mean, now I have the understanding that energy is energy, and it doesn't matter whether you're in person or 1,000 miles away.
Right.
And which is great because I actually have clients in the UK.
Oh,
And so,
yeah, me too. Australia, South
yeah,
Africa. I mean, we
yeah.
both do. Yeah.
All over the world. So, I and then it became I worked on the phone, and
Mhm. Yeah.
people were like, "Well, I don't want to come to Iowa City, which is where I practice."
Right.
And I'm like, "Okay, well, let's try it on the phone and see what happens." And they got great results. So I'm like, "Oh,
Mhm. Mhm.
okay." And then it was
Yeah.
then COVID, and then COVID hit. And this is actually funny for me, funny now, but back as soon as COVID hit, I'm like, I can't do Zoom. I don't know why. I just had this block of I can't do it over Zoom. I can't. And my one of my mentors is like, Jennifer, what's the difference? And
Right.
and 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 I said, I need you to take me through. It's not the session itself. It's not the work. It was signing on to Zoom. It was setting up. It was the it was setting up a meeting. It was all of the technical stuff
Right.
that I'm okay at. But so once she walked me through that, I went, oh, okay, I got it. Now I do both. I have an office. I do hands-on healing. I do Reiki and a couple other different hands-on modalities and transformate. I do mostly transformational work, like you do, people who have limiting beliefs, who have
Mhm.
traumas, who are things that
Yep.
are stopping them, telling them no, they can't have, can't do, can't be, whatever that is. And that actually has evolved over the
Yes.
years as well.
Mhm.
When
Mhm.
I first started, I was a little more, I guess, I say militant because I was like, okay, you're going to stand, we're going to test, I'm going to show you how to do this, you're going to answer
Yes.
this question. And now I've allowed more intuition to come through. I allowed myself, because I also had a limiting belief of like, I'm not a psychic. I'm not a psychic. And
Mhm.
because I had a really big problem with that word, even though my mom was psychic, I had a really big problem with the misconceptions about what a psychic is. I am like, okay, I'm intuitive. Well, what I found out was I'm an empath, and
Mhm.
that's what I use. And when I allowed myself to say, okay, I'm an intuitive, I'm a psychic, I can help, I can use that as
Mhm.
a skill, I can hone that into a skill to help someone.
Yes.
And
Yes.
that is like the whole world just opened up because I'm like, oh,
Oh,
I'm using that to help someone. I'm using that to help heal their heart wound. I'm like, that's what I can get behind. And
mhm.
when before all of that happened, I was like, oh gosh, I can't use that. I can't. And again, literally down on my knees. And I asked God, I said, how do I navigate this? And then I got a picture of Michael Jordan. And I was like,
Hmm,
why, why am
interesting.
I getting a picture of Michael Jordan?
Right.
I'm like, okay, let me say this prayer again. Help me. Michael, Michael Jordan came back in. And I'm like, okay, you gotta kind of hit me over the head because I'm not understanding why I'm seeing this picture of Michael Jordan. And
Mm-hmm.
it literally was Michael Jordan's a natural athlete. You're a natural healer. You're a natural empath.
Mm-hmm.
But he had to develop his skill as a basketball player to become who he became.
Oh man, Jen, that is so perfectly said
Yeah.
because
Doesn't it
just
give you
like
chills?
any other practice, any other skill, any other training, any other way that you work, people work and provide service, it evolves.
Mm-hmm.
And so much of it, again, is what we believe we have the ability to do or allowed to do.
Mm-hmm.
The terminology, so much of that gets people hung up, ourselves and how people think about us. And so, I've almost got to the point where it's just, thinking about the energetics of it without putting words to it, because when you
Exactly.
say certain modalities, certain ways of operating, certain ways of receiving, people have a preconceived thoughts about what that means, what it can do, what it is. That that's not right, that's wrong, which is
Mm-hmm.
all of those projections and opinions. But when we go back to, naturally, we are created to be
We're divine
connected,
beings.
to
Yeah.
be through, yeah, divinely flowing, divinely, divinely spreading love, showing love, being love. And all of, energetically, there's just stuff that flows well and stuff that doesn't flow well, stuff that impacts us and doesn't impact us. And we, our roles, I'm speaking for both of us here, but our roles are just to be able to be kind of skilled and learned to be able to tap into that.
Mm-hmm.
And we, just like anybody else, have stuff that gets in the way. We have our own beliefs, our own things that
Human.
stop us, our humanness, exactly. And that's the learning, is that we
Yeah.
we can appreciate all forms of us, because we are created, we each matter, we each have a purpose. Well,
Yeah.
everybody has a purpose. We wouldn't be here if we didn't. We weren't just, plopped on this earth to say, just go do what you want, it doesn't matter. No, we all have a role to play to make life good and better and loving and happy. And we've just allowed ourselves to be in a position to be more aware in certain ways of how we get to support and serve, the world around us.
And to
And
support and serve the people who are our clients and who come to us
right,
so that we can help them let go of the things that are not allowing them to be I say the best version
best
of
version.
themselves.
I do too. Yep.
Yeah, to be the best of themselves. So that's one of the misconceptions is that yes, we're the healer because we don't really have a better term for that. I prefer facilitator because I'm facilitating the shift in you using different energy tools and techniques, but you're actually the one doing the work. The client is doing the work
Exactly. Yes.
because if
Yeah.
they're
The
not,
divine through you is doing the work.
yes, yes, exactly. It's
Mhm.
to me that is very rewarding, and it's very rewarding when you
Yes.
see someone who's so closed down and so hurt to be able to take them to be fully present in their body and fully present in knowing that they are incredible human beings and they have a purpose, whatever that purpose is. Because not everybody knows or is aware of their purpose.
Right.
And you and I help them find that,
Right.
or
Yes.
you and I help them direct themselves to it more than
Mhm.
help them find it. Because as I tell my clients, I'm not going to tell you what to do.
Right.
I'm going to help you peel away those layers that's preventing you from finding that, preventing you
Hmm.
from seeing that. And that's
Yes.
energy work. So
Yes.
that's
Yes.
energy work.
Hmm. Hmm.
How
Oh my
cool is
gosh.
that?
How cool is that? And you talked earlier about the heart wounds,
Mhm.
and we have all different ways of saying that, but that truly is, what state is your heart in, that it can't move freely and love and receive love, and just receive that joy and fulfillment and happiness that we were all created for. And sometimes you can't find those things, those limitations. Sometimes it's hard to find them on your own,
It is.
because it's emotional, right? It's all about ourselves, and it's like we have judgment about that. We have judgment about others. We have, there's a lot of stuff that sometimes you just need help, for somebody asking the right questions, talking to your body, your being in a different
Mhm.
way. And that really is the service, is we're the facilitators of that listening, that awareness, and saying, oh man, this thing is really telling you a message here. Are you hearing? And it's like,
Are you
um,
aware?
are you aware? And it's like, okay, and this happened, this is something that happened 20 years ago, and it's just still sitting in your space.
Mhm.
Hmm, maybe you can now that you're aware of it, maybe you can just accept what happened, forgive what happened, bless everyone involved, and let it be free, and see what that happens. See what happens when you do that.
Can I
So,
give you an example of that?
oh, totally, totally.
So I had a client who wanted to speak on stages. She's already an author, but she's like, I just can't get over that hump of speaking on stages, and I want to be on podcasts, and she kept saying, I want to raise my hand. I want to raise my hand and say, yes, I want to be able to do all that. And I'm like, okay, that raise, I want to raise my hand, that phrase jumped out at me energetically. And it literally feels like the energy kind of comes out of the screen because this was online.
Right.
And I said, well,
It's what you just did. You raised your hand.
and I'm like, what happened when you were a little girl and you raised your hand? And she's like, when I think it was 6. When I was 6, the teacher asked a question and I raised my hand and she made fun of me.
Those things are brutal on a young one, and it changes their whole ability to move forward from that.
Exactly. And she's in her
And
60s
mhm,
now. And she's like that, and tears just started
yep.
coming. All of that hurt
Mhm,
just started
mhm,
coming out. And I was, using energy work, able to help her shift that and release
yes,
it. And
mhm.
it
Permanently, right?
permanently, because now she's like speaking on stages, and she's like, and she also had a fear of working one-on-one with people. And she's like, Jen, I don't have that fear anymore. I'm like actively seeking out
Mhm.
clients and and she's putting together programs and she's a dating expert. And it's like, it's amazing. We did other work, but that one just shifted so much stuff. And that was when
Ah,
she was 6 years old, and she was carrying that for
mhm.
60 something years.
Yeah, Jen, I that is Jennifer, I'd say why we do what we do,
Exactly.
because we know that it's just usually one or two, or just a small handful of things
Mhm.
that hold people back from being the magnificent being that they were created to be, and how they are meant to serve and be bigger and better in the world. And having experiences like that, it's like, uh, there is no other better fulfillment in the work that we do, is to
Mhm.
have that moment. And they happen with every client. They just
Exactly.
do. And
Yeah.
so it's just, there's no better job to be, and I don't want to call it a job, vocation, role, calling, than what we get to do and how we get to support people. And great
I know
story.
we
Each have
could
a
go on and
zillion.
on.
Yes, we could.
Because
So
what we do is, I mean, it is so rewarding because you see the light bulb come on. You see them take shift their darkness, move away from whatever darkness they were in into the light, and you see them go, "Oh, all of a sudden life has possibilities."
yeah, I
Whereas,
can do this. That's my
yep,
favorite phrase. Oh, I can do that. It's like, yes, then you have shifted into a whole new way of thinking.
yes. And that's why also why they call us mindset coaches. And I'm like, I'm not a
Hmm.
I'm not going to tell you what to do, but I am but I am going to tell you what to do, but not really.
Yes. I'm going to help you shift your way of thinking into a place that supports you. And
Mhm.
that's, again, that's all energetic. That's all energetic,
That's
is that those
that's
mind
yeah.
thoughts. But
All of that's energy. All of that's energy. And I what I love about healing people's heart wounds is that our hearts, and it's been I don't know what the studies are, but it has been studied that our heart energy is so much more powerful than our brain energy.
mm-hmm.
And once you allow this to be free, what you can accomplish in your life, what you can manifest in your life, what you can shift and change and be worthy of in your life is amazing. It just
Yeah.
it's
Ugh.
I have no words for it because when you
Mhm.
see it happen in your clients, when you see them go from to
Mhm.
smiling, oh, and
Yes.
living a happy, joy-filled life, that's
Yeah.
it's amazing. It's so
Yeah.
cool.
Oh man, it's, and so many of the, well, all of the work that I do is
Mhm.
from that space. And
Yes.
literally starting with, how to energetically, I meditations as to how to just talk to your heart, how to energetically cleanse and
Mhm.
clear those wounds. And like you just said, that's where it all needs to start, because that's what allows those all of those possibilities and flows to change. We you know I we had talked about, this way of, a really quick way of of getting somebody to tune into their heart,
Mhm.
to start that awareness differently. And so, anyone watching, just feel free to do this with me, because it really does change the awareness and the possibility. So take a
What are we
breath.
doing?
We're just going to take a breath, and just kind of breathing in. No rules about how you breathe in, how you breathe out, but just kind of breathe in and let stuff just expel out. Just the ability to do that, just, stuff that might be stuck in there. A lot of us hold our breaths on a very regular basis. And so, just for now, and no technique, but just kind of breathe in and just let it go. And just take a few of those breaths. Later episodes will give you some more breathing techniques, but this is just do this, just breathe. And I know for me, that's I'm in my head more than I'm anywhere else. So I want you to just imagine how your breath is coming in out of your mouth. I want you to take that breath and that thought of your in and out of your mouth, and I want you to just move it down into your heart. So just take your awareness out of your mouth, out of your head, and take that awareness like you're breathing in and out of your heart. And just breathe in to your heart and breathe out of your heart. Breathe into your heart. Breathe out of your heart. Breathe into your heart. And breathe out of your heart. And then we won't do anything else with that today, except for just allow yourself to be aware of what you noticed when you did that. Did it kind of drop things to be more peaceful? Did it take some of the busyness out of your head and just set it aside? Did it? No, couldn't really get there. But with practice, I'd say you can.
Yeah, I'll tell you. Can I tell you what I
What'd you
experienced?
notice? Yeah, totally.
My shoulders immediately dropped.
Mhm.
And I was like,
Mhm.
oh, I didn't realize I was carrying so much tension there.
Right.
And I could feel my heart expand. And I was like, oh, can I just stay? Can I just stay here?
Yes. Oh, beautiful,
And
beautiful,
as I
beautiful.
as you kept going, I kept taking deeper and deeper breaths, and I realized how much I had been holding on to my breath. I was like,
Mhm.
oh, this feels nice. Thank you.
Oh, yes. And so, yeah, anyone watching us, just allow yourself to do that on a more regular basis. Because just like you said, oh, didn't realize I was sitting up here. Didn't realize this was even constricting me. And I mean, what a simple exercise. And it literally changes the energy in your body and the
Well,
energy in your thoughts.
yes, yeah, because they became softer. And when we're stressed, we breathe shallow and
Mhm.
our energy comes in. And when we allow ourselves to breathe, we're able to expand our energy. And the importance of that is when we're stressed and our energy is so close to our body, that creates dis-ease in our body. And that's when um, accidents happen. That's when disease happens. That's when, we get sick. And as long as we're breathing and allowing ourselves to relax, that's less likely to happen. Would you agree with that?
Oh my gosh, I wholeheartedly. And more stuff kind of feels chaotic and stressful. Whether it might have been or not, how your body perceives it and can manage through it can totally change when you're in that more calmer, present, really present is probably the right word,
Yes,
state where you're just, okay, yep, this is all going on. I am at ease in my body and
absolutely.
changes everything. It can change everything. The reaction, the pathway moving forward, the just
Mhm.
what opens up. It's
Everything
just
opens up.
changes. Yeah.
And that's just by breathing in and breathing out in an intentional way. I think that
Yeah.
was the important piece of that, is that we were
Mhm.
more intentional in what we were doing and why.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. That I hadn't even thought about that in those words. Just again, breathing when you're really focusing on where that breath's coming from and then you're moving, it is very intentional and it's taking away all the stuff that was going on in your head because it's intentionally saying,
Mhm.
I am breathing, I am you're not in consciously thinking of that, but I am, I am centering and grounding and just being intentional about what was in my head, and now I can focus on my heart. So again,
And the
all unintentional and sorry, unconditional.
and the more you do that, the more you become aware of not only your body and how it feels, but how you are in relationship to everything else. And you can, yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, and that's just by a simple breathing
I
exercise.
know it. And we have so much more, I know, and that we're going to be teaching
Oh,
and sharing, as we move forward, and just letting people experience. I mean, that's our whole, kind of our Wellness Way series, is just helping you experience life in a different way that supports you, that that releases that this dis-ease and disharmony, and it just creates more peace and joy in what you do in your life. And oh my gosh, I can't wait for all that
I
we are going to
know.
be doing with everybody.
Well, in that state, you come into, when you're present like that, you come into a state of allowance. And
Yes.
allowance is allowing, not just allowing yourself to be, but allowing not things to come into you, allowing yourself to manifest the life that you want, the job that you want, the business that you want, the lifestyle that you want. And that's one of the reasons why I do what we do, is to bring that allowance to people, to allow that into their lives. Because what happened, I mean, I'm sure you hear a lot of it too. I'm not worthy of that. I don't deserve that. And we're like, oh yes, you do.
I'm not enough to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you are. It's just all the stuff
More
that's
than enough.
getting in the way. And just by being intentional about it, and simply the breath, being intentional about breathing, helps that allowance, help little bit by little bit. Sometimes it happens all at once, but more often than not, it's a process of learning and a process of unlearning. And we had to go through that process of unlearning to
Right.
learn
Yes.
what we need to do to help people. And I think that journey of unlearning, I, I, I love it when I think back on it. I'm like, wow, how miraculous was that? This one
Right.
person who I never knew existed showed up to teach me something I wanted to learn.
Right. And that's all part of this, right? The people around us, the who we need, what we need, when we need it, when we need to, go in, when we need to check out, whatever, it all shows up beautifully, divinely orchestrated.
And I,
And
I tell my students, because I teach what I do, and I tell my clients, I'm like, I'm one person on your journey. There are going to be others.
right,
And I can't wait to introduce you to some of the to some of the others that were
right.
on my journey. And I can't wait to, I mean, your partner has an incredible story. Can't wait to introduce people to her. So
Yeah.
wow. What a great conversation. Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Susan.
Oh my gosh, thank you, Jennifer. What fun, and thanks for, yeah, thanks. It was great to be able to hear your story in this a whole different way and connect with that. And yeah, I most of that I hadn't heard myself either. So I'm glad that we could talk through that and share, because we have different practices, we have different stories, we have different pathways of how we got here. But bottom line, we are here to serve in the
Exactly.
just the beautiful divine purpose that we have been created for. And we are letting ourselves explore and learn and do more and help ourselves more. And we get to help all those watching as well.
And that's one of my, so glad you said that, because that is one of my prayers is, okay, creator, okay, God, how may I serve more? How may I
Yes.
serve more?
Mm-hmm.
Show me the way. Show me the
Yes.
way. How may I serve more? Show me the way. And things happen.
Mm. Yes.
People show up.
Woohoo!
I know. How cool is that? How cool is that? And it's so fascinating to me how we have, I mean, we have such different backgrounds. I was a retail manager for a gazillion years. You were an engineer for a gazillion years.
Mhm.
Yet we both came to a similar place.
Mm-hmm.
How
Yeah.
cool is that? So that tells me as anyone can do this.
Hmm. Yeah, totally. And
Any
anyone can feel better. Anyone can be in find their best version. Everyone can find, the role that they're meant to play in this world. All of us can do all of that.
Mhm.
And yeah, and we're living examples. It doesn't matter where you come from, where you've
Mhm.
been, how you got here. It doesn't matter. It's just taking a different way of approaching life, that you're choosing. You're intentionally choosing. I'm going to look at this a different way, and see if the tools and the processes and the support that I have all around me, how it can help me in my journey to be that best
Yeah,
fulfilled life that I can have.
I love that. The best fulfilled life. I love that.
Oh, I
That's
think
it, folks.
I think they're gonna cut us off, that we need to be done for today. And excited for next week, and just teaching you more, walking you through more.
Mhm.
More of these are going to be more experiential as we move forward. More, just getting you to help tune in a different way and see what that does for you. So I'm excited to be able to share and help.
Oh my gosh, we are going to expand your horizons, so stay tuned.
All right. Have a blessed day.
Bye.